Hey guys, this is Alex703 Rockstar. I'm back. Another album review. I was going to review this later. It's sort of low down on my list, but I've sort of gotten to the point where I was listening to it for fun, and now I'm sort of done with this album, and so I'm going to put it away back in my collection back here. Um, and so I'm sort of ready to review it, so I'm just going to review it earlier than I assumed, and that is The Strokes' Angles. This album is The Strokes' fourth album. It's a big comeback. It's their first album in 5 years, and I must say, the first thing I must say that I feel is a very positive note about this album is it feels like it's an album that the Strokes wanted to make. It's not an album that seems too influenced by outside pressures to make another Is This It or another good album, although the artwork here with the pictures does harken back to their first album. Um, the band is super tight here, much more than on their first three albums. And there's the good and the bad with that. The melodies and the rhythms are really nice and more intricate than they used to be. These are no simple. I mean, there are some pretty simple rockers in here, but you can tell that they've grown as musicians. But on the negative side of that, part of the fun of the Strokes, especially on Is This It, was how loose they were, how much energy they had. It seemed like they were having so much fun there. And now it's like it's not so much. It's very controlled. There's a lot of programmed drumming here, electronic drums by Fab Moretti that I really don't like. I think he's a good drummer, but I don't like a lot of the drum sounds on here. I think the real star. I thought, a positive here is definitely that this is not the Julian Casablancas show. It's not all about him. It's about all the members of the band equally. And I was a little worried when I heard that they had recorded the album and then he came in sort of late whenever he could and put the vocals down. But it's all right. The band members are sort of valued equally here, and they do a good job. And I think the real star of this album is Nick Valenci, the lead guitarist. Is great on this album. He's at peak form, sort of better than he's ever been. Some of the melodies that he's playing and the guitar solos that he does and his slide work on here is really, really excellent. In terms of songwriting, it's a little hit and miss. The production is really nice and slick. Of course, it's a little overly slick for the Strokes. They have a slick sound, but they on here, it's sort of extrapolating from the drums that I was talking about. The whole band seems a little too slick, not willing to get dirty with these rhythms. And, this is actually the second time that they were going to record this album. And sorry, I got distracted there for a second by a Facebook notification. This is actually the second time they were going to record this album. The first time they recorded it all with Joe Ciccarelli as their producer, I think, but they did not like it. They scrapped it, and they sort of went and recorded themselves in an upstate New York house that Albert Hammond Jr. has, which is cool, and they self-produced it. Yeah, but I'm getting distracted. What the thing that made Is This It so great is the fact that there weren't a couple standout songs, but every song was a really excellent song. And on here, there are a couple really excellent songs. I think Two Kinds of Happiness, You're So Right are really good. I think Life is Simple in the Moonlight is a great closer to the album. It makes me so hungry for more. But there are definitely some weak songs on here. Games tries to reach a little too far. I think Under Cover of Darkness, the lead single, is not a great song. It's alright, but it's not great. So it's a little hit and miss. They definitely do use more electronic effects on this album. Some to good use, some are sort of unnecessary bleeps and bloops in there that I don't really need. I think this album could stand to be longer too. I know First Impressions of Earth was quite long and people didn't like that, but I think 34 minutes is too short for this album. You want more. I think 2 or 3 more tracks would have been good. But yeah, overall, I think it's a solid comeback by the Strokes. Not great. One other thing that I will mention is that Julian Casablancas' vocals have gotten so much more nuanced. He doesn't just do that sort of famous scream or shouts behind sort of what I would call a layer of fuzz is how I think of it in my head. Now he has a lot of different vocals deliveries. He has sort of this whisper thing he does on this album. He has more of a croon, and then of course his old classic scream. So I think his vocals are actually have gotten more varied. There's more range in his vocals. But yeah, anyway, so solid comeback album. It's not a great album, but considering that they're making music that I think they want to make, that's a very encouraging sign. And I think that because of that, if they continue to work at it, if they don't split up, you know, for 5 years again and don't work together, I think their next couple of albums could be really, really fantastic. So positive. I would give this maybe a 6.75 out of 10. See you guys later. Peace.